Korea is rushing to build a second mega-scale semiconductor cluster outside the capital region, backed by unprecedented state support. Now, this would be the nation's second such a project, with one in Yongin, Gyeonggi-do Province already in the works. Joining us in the studio tonight to discuss this further is our business and economy reporter, Do-yeon. Welcome, Do-yeon.
Good to be here.
Do-yeon, so let's start with the top-level move. So President Lee Jae Myung is meeting with the world's top two memory chip makers, which happen to be Korean, SK hynix and Samsung. There must be a big one coming, right?
That's right. Like you said, it is reported that President Lee and Samsung Electronics Chairman Lee Jae-yong just had dinner behind closed doors earlier today, following a similar meeting with SK Group's chairman last week. As the world's leading memory chip makers amid the AI boom, the president is aligning with them to secure their commitments to this massive regional project. The core agenda is a second mega cluster for semiconductor production, driven by a massive corporate investment estimated at up to 400 trillion won, or about 260 billion US dollars. Now, to back this corporate funding, the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Resources issued a legislative notice earlier today. This decree provides legal framework for massive state support. Crucially, the government promises to cover up to 100% of the installation costs for critical infrastructure, such as power grids and water supply in provincial clusters. It will also expedite licensing through a fast-track system and relax financial regulations, such as easing the strict separation of industrial and financial capital to help these companies secure the massive funding required from outside private equity.
You know, it is an astronomical amount of money, but building these fabrication plants could take years. So the question is the investment timely? I mean, is there a risk that the AI boom might cool down even before the factories, open?
Right, but experts argue that not investing right now is actually a bigger risk. So global tech giants around the world are pouring roughly 1,100 trillion won into AI infrastructure this year alone, triggering a fierce game of chicken in the memory chip market. In this industry, the winner takes all, and those who fail to secure a dominant position simply cannot survive.
We need to widen the gap so competitors cannot catch up. If you do not secure a leading position, you cannot survive. That is why expanding investments right now is absolutely critical.
And regarding the longevity of the boom, industry veterans are highly confident. Experts also note that the structural demand for these chips is built to last, dismissing concerns of a short-lived trend.
The ripple effect of AI is immense, and there are currently very few alternatives to our existing semiconductor structures. For that reason, this chip demand will easily last for the next 10 to 20 years.
So the structural demand is solid. Let's move to the infrastructure. Why is the government once again looking outside the capital region, and what exactly are the infrastructure needs for this massive new site?
Right, so the government is framing this massive expansion as a critical point to have the regional balanced growth. The enforcement decree issued today explicitly favors areas outside the capital region for new special semiconductor zones. Now, President Lee Jae Myung emphasized that distributing this industrial weight away from Seoul is essential for long-term national development. Take a listen.
수도권의 기간의 핵심 인프라는 그것대로 고도화해 나가고, 동시에 지방 곳곳에 새로운 산업 경제 기반을 구축해 수도권과 지방이 함께 윈윈하는 모두의 성장 시대를 반드시 열어가야 합니다. 이에 관한 구체적 청사진을 곧 국민 여러분께 보고 드릴 예정입니다.
As he said, this is absolutely not a cut down on the existing Yongin cluster that's currently in the works. Rather, the explosive AI demand is forcing Samsung and SK to accelerate their capital region construction plans by a full decade. With those timelines compressed to the mid-2030s, the greater Seoul area will simply exhaust its available land, power, and water by 2035, which adds another reason to look beyond the capital region. Now, as for the new plan that's in the works, the official announcement is set to come out soon, according to the president, and reports say it'll be early next week.
Let's see what the blueprint looks like next week. Do-yeon, thank you for the wrap-up.
Thanks for having me.